Although I've been away for 7 months. Hard out filming the Book of Boba. Ooh, fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new. There are no words.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, George.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
You know, might go off, or I don't know, what kind of practical jokes do you play?
Well, with my new chemistry set, thanks to Brie Larson, I do like to make stink bombs.
Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right. Mother, I always love her, my mother, so treat her right, treat her right.
I gotta get out of here. I think I'm gonna lose it.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of...
Tongs days.
When we talk about crawfish, we talk about boiled crawfish, we talk about jambalaya, we talk about crawfish bread, we talk about crawfish pasta, crawfish etouffee, crawfish wrap, and crawfish jubilee.
Kia ora, welcome to the Tim Show. I'm Tim Witter Morrison. Now each week I invite a couple of buddies over to have a bit of a kōrero, we have a bit of a sing-song, and I show them some of my postcards from Hollywood. Ooh, and they're looking pretty flash too. I visit the whānau in New Zealand and around the globe, and I even score some A-listers. Now, this week we've got a Tim Show special, episode 3, involvement of the Kiwis. I'm talking Star Wars. We find out how they make us clones. And I catch up with Rena Owen and talk to the producer, Rick McCullum, and talk to the big guy, George Lucas. So, lightsabers on!
こんにちは。ボンボットファミリーと私たちのライブ放送へようこそ。私たちはあなたの視聴とリスニングの喜びのための素晴らしいショーを持っています。今あなたのホスト、スコッティ・ジェイロとジェリー・ケーブルにステイ・ボンバードを楽しんで覚えておいてください。
Welcome to the Bombad Cast.
What's going on, everybody? Super excited to be here. Look at this lineup. The search for Fuzzball. Oh my gosh. I got to talk about Fuzzball in a minute. But hey, it's me, Scotty Jarrow. Welcome. Bombad Cast every Thursday. Super happy to have all of you here. We are wrapping up our Skeleton Crew coverage this evening. And just something to put in the chat, the commentary here. I don't know where Jerry's at. He's not answering my message. Oh, he said, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. He just texted me. I will show you on camera. I'm so sorry. I just fell asleep. I don't know what happened. There might have been a long day at Staples. Anyway, all is good in the world. He's going to show up in a second. I'm not going to really stall that much longer, but I do have a few things I want to say. Look forward to what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. Jerry and I decided, I think for the next few weeks, just to appease everyone we know, and everyone really seems to enjoy and gravitate towards these things, we will be covering nothing but old VHSs I have laying around my house. So all of you are very lucky to hear that. I'll show you the first one we're doing next week. It's called Lights, Camera, Branson. So this is going to be what we watch next week. It was a GM card membership exclusive for $19.95. So it is going to be great. We'll hear some the music from Charlie Pride. we hear the music from a couple other really well-known people that had, I guess you can say, I almost said vacancies, not vacancies, that had what's it called? Oh man, I'm thinking of I can't think of the word. But when they have a prolonged stay at a hotel, performing. So yeah, this is gonna be fun watching that next week. One thing that I'm very excited to plug, I cannot believe I get to say this. I am hosting a panel at Star Wars Celebration Japan this year. I am just over the moon excited for this. There's a lot of fun things in the works. I'm not going to really reveal that much right now, but just know that it's going to be a very thorough, very well thought out panel. And we're going to bring in Jerry right now. Sweet Jerry. Jerry, how do you feel about me having this panel?
I think that if anyone deserved anything in the world, it's you deserving to do this panel of celebration.
That's so sweet. Is this post nap, Jerry? Post unexpected nap?
I fell asleep on my couch just now.
That's okay.
I woke up not knowing what time it was. It was great.
Kind of old. Did you do the old? Were you the old man? Did you do one of those old man?
Just there? More like a "what day is it" type of thing.
No.
Am I supposed to be at work? Where am I supposed to be? I know I'm supposed to be somewhere.
You ate too many of these Shack gummies. Shackalicious.
Oh
XL
no, Shackalicious. No. The last time I had a Shackalicious, I woke up. I woke up in the park next door. You know, like
it's
on the
kind
on
of
the
cursed
set.
looking. Like I kind of hate how this looks.
I don't like that at all. In fact, I think I'm still dreaming. Actually, yeah.
Anyway, Jerry. Before we bring our guest in, Fuzzball. No Fuzzball.
Where is he?
I didn't see him this time.
Where is he?
The first 2 episodes and he's gone, man. But there's one thing wrong thing. There's one thing I do want to show y'all. Let me get it pulled up on Star Wars Twitter. The official Twitter page released what kind of looks like a what kind of looks like a kid's book like cover, you know what I mean? Kind of has this like almost like graphic novel appealing cover.
Very
golden
books.
Golden books. That's right. I couldn't think of it. But they have a new like kind of fan art looking picture of Fuzzball. So we kind of did get Fuzzball. Look right there. Even though Fuzzball was only featured for like 3 scenes, a whole little fan art. And he's in color, unlike most of the other characters in this, which I think is kind of interesting.
Right. Yeah, he's very vibrant, stands out quite a bit. In that shot there, in that poster, I like it.
And they have the teak right there as well, right over KB's shoulder. But Jerry's favorite horseman did not make a. Oh, yes, he did. Right over KB. There he is.
Oh, he did. Oh, he did, didn't he? Okay.
Horse guy. Jerry's
very nice.
favorite.
I was looking for him earlier. I didn't see.
But yeah, no. We got to bring in our guests. They've been waiting for too long. I'm super, super excited to have Adam Frazier on here. Adam Frazier has been on every conclusion discussion since Book of Boba Fett. So that's right. That puts us at Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Mando Season 3, Ahsoka. I don't know if we even did Andor coverage like that, but that also includes this. That's like 6 or 7 appearances just for that alone. But let's bring in Adam. Let's bring in Adam. Adam, how you doing, buddy? Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on, dude? How are you?
Adam?
Doing good. Doing well.
Good. Wonderful. I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Well, since the Acolyte.
Oh, Acolyte too. Duh. Oh my God. That's wow. I should have added that. No, Adam, glad to have you here. I know Adam told me in private that this show maybe wasn't exactly what he wanted or not wanted. Just it hasn't been scratching the itch that you have, but we'll get to that in a moment. Can we get to that in a moment?
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that perspective. We're going to bring in another wonderful person joining us. One of my favorite people in the fandom and in the space. Someone that is always good on the mic and very kind to talk to. That is our friend, Becca. Benjamin. Becca, how we feeling? Put that same thing. That same. That's her favorite video. It makes her laugh every time.
The sweet Dave Filoni tones. Absolutely.
I love it. Love it. It gets you right in the feels every time. Love it. Love it.
Every time.
Every time. Doesn't get old.
How are you?
I'm happy to be here.
Never.
I'm just hoping I don't lose you guys. I'm on Hoth recently. I don't know if you guys have watched the news with the snow. It was really crappy coming home. It took me an hour to get home, which is normally a 20-minute ride. Then I had a snow blow. So I'm hoping I don't lose connection with you guys because the weather's really crappy.
Oh,
Well,
no.
we will make sure we don't
It's okay.
cut you
I'm in
off
danger of
like-
falling asleep on air. It's fine. We're good. We're good. Apparently, I'm 60 years old, so we're good. We're good. Fine.
I'm 50, so hey now. Hey now.
Sorry. My
Hey.
apologies.
It's all right.
Becca.
But wait. I wanted to share something with you. So recently, a couple months back, and there was a Lucasfilm birthday party for Pablo. And Anne messaged me, sent me this wonderful picture. In case people didn't know who Anne was. Anne is the other half to the Falone. Sent me this wonderful picture of her dressed as Pablo for his birthday party. And she goes, we were just talking about you. We were wondering, we needed another fourth horseman, and that's you, because Anne, Pablo, myself, and Dave all turned 50 this year. So I came up, and my name came up at this birthday party. It's like, that's just really weird.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yay, I guess.
50.
Yay for 50.
Yay for 50. That's the benefit. You get names dropped. That's awesome.
There it is.
That's beautiful. No, Becca, glad to have you here. I know you've loved this show personally. I've loved it. I know Jerry's loved it. Adam. No, but really though, you and I have talked a lot about your falling out of love with Star Wars after the Acolyte cancellation and everything. If you want to, by all means, I kind of want to hear where you want to go with this, because you told me in a message earlier that
sure.
It's just not.
Well, you can go back and watch it. It was on the finale with you guys for the Acolyte, and was super invested in that story. We theorized a lot about what they could do in a season 2 or what have you. And so I was so disappointed with the way that Disney and Lucasfilm handled the whole cancellation situation, right? Like, they didn't support the cast and crew, and they didn't stand behind the storytelling. It really felt like they gave up on it before it even had a chance. They basically told the fan base, like, hey, don't get invested in this, because if it's not creating value for shareholders, we'll just toss it. And so, needless to say, very bummed about that whole situation. And so, aside from my Disney Plus subscription, which I share, and I'm not going to cancel, but I haven't spent a dime on Star Wars, like, as a brand. I'm not collecting anything. I'm not reading any of the books, any of the comics. I'm just really not participating. So, going from a series like The Acolyte, which took place in a new time period, attempted to expand the universe in somewhat bold ways, I guess, like, to go from that to Skeleton Crew, which I know was already in the can and, planned out way before Acolyte was, but it just felt like pandering in a way, to put out just such, and don't get me wrong, I'll come back around, but it's just such an aggressively safe series.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
And,
I understand that.
And I don't want to use the word disposable, because I don't think the work of, hundreds of crewmen and, craftsmen are not worth anything, but like, it just feels sort of disposable in that way to me. With that being said, like, obviously there's a lot of stuff in the show that I like. So, like, the music, the production design, the costumes, like the effects, like all that stuff is top notch. Like, you guys know I'm crazy about, like, just putting weird aliens into stuff. So, like,
oh, hell
loving Brutus and Cathalops, and like, we got a hut in a mud bath, and we got the trash lab, and there was a teak. I mean, the fact that this show is called Search for Fuzzball, like, we got a fuzzball, like, that's insane. But I've just had a really hard time warming up to, I guess, like the narrative and the characters. It's really felt like a surface level examination of Star Wars to me in a lot of ways. Like, and I think, you know, obviously we know now as adults who are like steeped in this stuff, like we know that Star Wars is based on like Akira Kurosawa films and like Flash Gordon and stuff like that. But as a kid, we didn't know those references, and so Star Wars felt really fresh to us, right? Like I don't know, maybe if it's just me seeing the Goonies 100 times as a kid, seeing E.T. 100 times as a kid, but like when I'm watching this, I don't feel like it's offering up anything other than that nostalgia, and that's totally
interesting.
fine. But like, it's just weird to know every reference that they're making in a way that I think the more mythological side of Star Wars, like the Joseph Campbell side of Star Wars, the references to that go much deeper and older, you know? But anyway, like, so I would say the first 4 episodes of the show, I was just like, what, you know, like it's cute. If it attracts a new audience via kids that are watching it, great. Like it will have done its job. But I just didn't feel like it was necessarily for me. And again, that's totally fine. And I'm a huge proponent of Star Wars having all these different flavors, right? Like, I'm not disliking Skeleton Crew because it's not Andor. You know what
exactly.
I mean? I just like am feeling some of that frustration, and maybe it's just a proximity thing with the Acolyte and just sort of this how I'm feeling currently as, you know, a fan. Maybe my thoughts will change later on it. But I have invested in Jude Law's character. Like that's kind of what has turned me around on it. Like I said, the first 4 episodes wasn't really feeling it. The 5th episode, I started to like really get more invested, especially in him. And so I was actually quite pleased with the finale in terms of, I thought it stuck the landing of what I guess the show was trying to do. I thought it totally succeeded in that way. So, I think I'll warm up to it more with more viewings. It's still so jarring to me to see like space suburbia and like, you know, the kids on the speeder bikes are just like E.T. and that was already kind of rehashed in Stranger Things. And so it's just like the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And I just wish that not every scene in the show, while being a total like closed off, like no cameos, no real larger connections, like despite it being such a specific story, I feel like every scene is really from something else you've seen a dozen times. It just has Star Wars characters in it, which is totally fine. It's just hard for me to watch that, I guess, with a fresh perspective, I guess.
No, thank you for sharing all that, because that's a hard thing to admit. You know, I'm
not happy to be in this weird state with Star Wars.
No, of course not.
I just need, I maybe, you know, by Celebration, they announce some things that actually end up getting made, and I can start feeling like
maybe that's it.
Yeah, maybe we're back on track, but it just feels weird right now.
It does, and
that Acolyte, and I'm not necessarily a cancellation, but still just like the abruptness of the pulling of the plug of that was very jarring, and I completely understand why you feel kind of like that. It almost does feel like, well, why get invested if we're just gonna pull, you know, the plug like that, you know.
They've already been reporting that this show's numbers aren't as exceedingly good as everyone thought it would be, and it does make me a little scared for these kids and, you know, this industry, if they're like, oh, sorry, gotta kill this one too. You know, it's just, and look, my goal here is to never change your opinion, because your opinions are your thoughts, and your thoughts are who you are, and that's valuable and that's important. And I'm never going to try to convince someone with what they're saying it's not what I wanted to hear, but it's certainly your feelings, and that's completely fine. And I can agree with you on some stuff, because I grew up watching those John Hughes movies, thinking about them as a mythology and like, oh my God, to be Ferris Bueller, he's like the archetype of every cool kid you've ever wanted to be, or to be like, you know, the 4 separate characters from Breakfast Club. Like I could be, you know, like, or 5, but like you take the mythology of those things and you see them as these like pillars of culture. But for someone that, you know, I'm not going to like say your exact age, but like you grew up with those things already existing in your life. And I know you did too, Becca. And like, I was a 13-year-old watching 16 Candles for the first time. Like, whoa, this is everything I wanted. Or I was watching E.T. as a 6-year-old, and like these things have already existed in my life. And I didn't go through the cultural zeitgeist as, you know, I didn't grow up with E.T. toys. I grew up with the E.T. DVD, you know, and it's weird because I think you're right on something. It did feel like Star Wars dressed up as a John Hughes story, or, you know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. You know,
Right.
I liked that a lot. That spoke to me because I think those are pillars of my culture and who I am. But I can understand someone seeing through the facade of that and being like, you know, this is not necessarily something I'm enjoying. Whereas I know Book of Boba Fett you loved, and that was
Right.
nothing but campy.
Right, like,
that
I
was
have
like
no room
80s
to talk.
B
Like,
movies.
My
Yeah.
favorite series is the most absolute ridiculous one. Yes, I have no
and
room
it's
to
okay.
talk. Yeah.
And maybe you've seen the Stranger Things thing done more than once, or the Stand By Me done more than once, and, you know, let's be more inventive. And Acolyte was certainly inventive, and it was very mythological, and it was very deep. I don't know. I look, and like I said, we're gonna talk about the things we liked in this, and if there's things you don't like, feel by all means. But like, I'm never gonna try to change your opinion on that. And I guess this perfectly goes to Becca, because I know you loved this, didn't you? Wasn't this like
did.
Yeah,
I
this is your
did.
cup of tea.
I didn't know how I was going to feel, you know, but
Yeah.
as listening to Adam talk about Acolyte, I am a huge High Republic fan. Tarkin Top Shelf, we review books. That's us in a nutshell. When things come out though on, you know, with the shows, we do break those down too as well. But the books is where our heart is. And for me, Skeleton Crew was literally, in my opinion, a High Republic YA book on screen. And I was loving it because to me, the YA books across all segments of Star Wars, those work so much better than the adult novels. My opinion, sorry, this is how I feel. Because when you put kids in it, and I'm talking kids between the ages of 10 and 13, and they're going through this adventure, if you want to call it that, the risks are weightier because they haven't been exposed to the toxicity of real world yet. Okay, so they're not cynical yet. They're not tainted in any way. So the risk taking of it to me just is more significant. And you really gasp when you know they're in trouble. These are kids. You know, episode 7 really just, I was livid. You know, first of all, you had this almost, you know, Order 66 moment in a sense of Anakin, you know, waving his lightsaber at these kids. And I was more, I mean, yes, that was bad. And I was like upset over that, but I was more upset because I am a parent. I've also been a kid, but nobody gets to decide when my baby's beliefs in something are destroyed. He destroyed, especially Wim's and Neil's belief in a Jedi and what that saber symbolizes. That's like telling someone else's kid, hey, there's no more Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You jerk. Like I was, see, and again, it depends on where you are, I think, with everything. And yes, I am one of those people that were very upset with how things went with the Acolyte. I was very invested in that from the get-go because, again, the High Republic, I love those books. I love those stories. I love where they are as a Jedi Order. They're just so completely contrast from where we get in the prequels, right? So to see that, not to mention that was one of the big things that I loved about Skeleton Crew. And Maggie came out with an article today on Collider about, and it's confirmed. Yes, they were literally connecting with the High Republic and Chancellor So with the great works. There was little Easter eggs of the High Republic throughout this whole thing. So that's another thing that you have to question. Why Or are they really, are they really going to just kind of go with the Acolyte or that era ever again to be on screen? I say they will do more. Not saying it's going to fall under Acolyte, but it's going to fall in that era because they're connecting to it. They're connecting to it. Whether you read it or know about it, they're connecting to it. And that's got to mean something.
I agree. And you know what? You said something too that spawned a thought in my head. It is a risk for them to do shows in that way. You know, not everyone reads the books. Not everyone reads the comics. But I'll say this. Most people should, because some of the best Star Wars storytelling is there, you know, wholeheartedly. It's just, I've had some of my most lifted moments in Star Wars from the books. And, you know, Jerry and I joke, I haven't read all the High Republic books. I think they're good. I haven't read all the
I wasn't going to say anything. I swear I wasn't going to say anything. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Light of the Jedi, when they're bringing down the rain, that to me stands out as one of the greatest moments in Star Wars. And you know, they're pulling down the rain, and I don't know, that whole moment is just beautiful, right? And it's rain, right? Don't they make it rain? That sounds south. They made it rain.
They did, yeah. No, they made it rain. Yeah, they manipulated certain things in the Force. Yeah, it's a very beautiful moment. It's really beautiful. There's a lot of great moments like that. So, absolutely.
All that being said, and we've all had the privilege of doing things with Lucasfilm and knowing people that work there, and I'm not going to go into all that, but I really do hope if something does happen to this show that it is addressed before it gets addressed by the trades, because that is not fair. It makes it seem like this era of streaming or this era of Star Wars has been a quote unquote failure when it hasn't. I know it's had only 300 million hours of viewership, but that is still 300 million hours of viewership. That is an insane number, right? I mean, that is a for most people, that is a number that no one can comprehend. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Aside from all that, aside from all the ways we feel about it, Jerry, I don't know if you wanna air your feelings here too, but we're gonna get in the episode next. I'm not quite sure if you want to address it.
Well, I mean, this episode, I went, as the kids say, full dad mode, and ended up like 5 feet away from the television. And, you know, and I didn't just stand. So I guess it's not that bad. I guess I'm not fully dead. I mean, you know, I am a father. And so, you know, falling asleep before going on a live stream, of course, while watching The Simpsons, that is something that dads do. Also, I didn't fall asleep during this episode, though. I tell you that right now. But I didn't stand the whole time either. I was sitting down just like crisscross applesauce, just like looking up at the TV, just like, you know, pounding my fists on my knees throughout the last half of this episode.
Yes.
I just I got like down into it. And so for the ride that it's been the whole season, for me, I've really, because E.T. was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid, and it does really punch those nostalgia numbers and stuff like that. But I don't know, the creature designs, everything like that really was kind of working for me. And then also just to finally at this finale, I can't explain it. It just felt like, to me, it felt like the characters were on all cylinders.
Yes, they were.
You know, it felt like the kids were all to me, it was all pitch perfect. Like the way that he takes Jod specifically chose Fern, just because maybe he saw the most in her and her mother, you know, basically taking them hostage to go see the supervisor. You give Wim just really wanting to tell his dad what happens. I see Nathan, I see you talking about how you're a little upset at Wim's dad. And yes, I understand that, but man, I think that man redeemed himself tenfold by the end of this episode. Personally, to me, it was fantastic. Yeah, I know. I think he was more just he was happy to get back. He was happy to have him back. It wasn't that he was I mean, just look at the message that they sent them in the last episode. You know, I mean, that man missed that child.
Yes.
He wanted him back. He's fought really hard for him. But now he's back and okay, let's get back to some normalcy. He doesn't know that something's wrong. That's what I would say with Wendell, and I understand the frustration because it is kind of like, you're like, come on, man, let's go. But I feel like he got there for me by the end of this episode. And I will say another thing too, and Adam, you were talking about the next generation. My kiddo, she is okay with Star Wars. She'll watch some things with me. I've watched Ahsoka with her. I've watched Rebels with her and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
This is the one that she spoke to her the most. So
which is her Star Wars now, which is kind of cool.
Like, KB is her character. In fact, that whole moment with KB, she's like, you know, when again, we're going all over the place with it right now. We're just getting the feelings and stuff. Whenever the ship goes down, you know, she was like, it didn't go blow up. So she's fine. She's got to be fine. But then like towards the end, you know, she was like, you know, breathing a sigh of relief when she fell out with the credits and stuff like that, you know, kind of a thing. Well, not until actually they went and talked to her and she actually like started moving and talking.
Right.
And then
Did we
she
win?
was,
yeah.
no, and she and I mean, and that's what I've been really judging the series based on this, you know, this whole time, you know, kind of throughout our coverage of it, I've kind of been talking about her reaction to what's going on screen with these kids who she probably sees more of herself in, you know, than a Luke Skywalker or something like that. You know, maybe she sees a little more of herself in KB than anyone else. Yeah. And, you know, like just by the end of this episode, like we watched it today, you know, before she left to go back to her mom's, and she goes, after it's done, she's like, I feel a little like I'm buzzing inside. And I was like, are you okay? She's like, yeah. I was like, it was intense. She's like, yeah, it was intense, but I liked it. And stuff. Where like, so it really, because there's a lot of really like big moments for kids, especially like when he's like, you're talking, Becca, when he's like threatening, like it's some very intense moments, and they really hang on. You don't know if KB made it for a long time. And I will just say, I don't care. I'm so happy that they are just like not being like, once you kill off who cares if no one ever really dies in Star Wars, because like goddamn SM-33 is probably one of my, like, I was cheering like a chimpanzee whenever he was like, when she was like holding, like he's like, hold me head steady, girl. Like I was like, yeah, my man, that's my boy. I was like, and again, that was at that point I was crisscross applesauce in front of my television like this, my 37-year-old ass sitting there like this, going, yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, that's my boy right there. That's my boy. That's SM-33.
No, I agree with you, G.
That's it's just like it's a stew of emotion and stuff in this household usually. So
one thing I wanted to bring up too with Eli, because I do agree with this, aside from the character design and the aesthetics of it all, it was very good. But I kind of, in the same scenario, was hoping for a bit more Star Wars. Now, I felt like if you digged really deep, and I know you dig deep, Eli, you host a really good trivia league, but like when I feel that it did have a lot of Star Wars, though I do agree it could have more. It could have had more oomph, more just subtleties. And truly, this show, especially this finale, it did pay off every single thing that it set up, which most Star Wars shows have not done. And I'm not trying to be picky on other shows, but other shows do kind of leave some things open-ended, and they aren't completely tied off in a little bow. Whereas this show, everything from at Akron having that turret, then he's like, wait a minute, let's see if it's on top of my school. And it faces my mom's building. And he goes up and it's just there and it's shielded. And no one would know that was a turret unless they hadn't gone to at Akron.
And I just want to comment to that. Like you said, like all those little hints were laid along the way. And yeah, it seems easy, but to get to that point, that was the obstacle. That was the challenge. Yes, it was laid out for you, but it was difficult for them to get to those points, even for KB to get that planet off that landing pad and up into, out of the barrier to get that message sent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they knew they had to do that, but it was difficult for her to actually get that. It was a challenge because these are kids. They have no real world experience of doing all these things other than one little romp out of their barrier, so that's what makes it weighty. That's what makes it risky. And I think at the heart of it, it made everyone feel young. And I think when I first saw Star Wars, it was the first Star Wars. I was I was 4 years old. You know what I mean? So I felt like that again. And I think the way it ends, not that I want to jump ahead, I'm sorry. I know it was her. You can't tell me it wasn't her. She was there. She was coming to that invasion. That was Leia. I know that was Leia.
Yeah.
In Ahsoka, Dave laid it out. C-3PO said what her new role is. It makes sense for her to be there. Not to mention, going back to books, Cobalt Squadron. She helped the Tico sisters. Okay, she brought them in.
Oh, you froze for 1 second, Beck. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's my buffalo weather. I apologize.
No, okay, so but I agree that had to have been Leia. The way they framed that shot too of the looking up at the moon and then that thing bursts through the clouds. I'm like, yeah,
her.
we know who's doing that debriefing. And like you gotta think too, if it's a legend to just the pirates, it's not a legend just everyone. It's a legend all over the whole entire universe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This place shouldn't exist. And the one thing I think is super important too is I went back and watched it, read the captions. The supervisor, the giant droid in a dome, which is so cool. He said the last message they got from the Republic was Order 66. They said the last message. They didn't mince words with that. They weren't like, they weren't like in one of. No, it was the last message. What that was, that the Jedi had turned against the Republic, which is wild. So that means they shut off the barrier, or they had the barrier already established for hundreds of thousands of years, and that the last message they received was that. But in terms of canon, there was some really interesting stuff that was revealed in all of this. And, the X-Wing showing up was really cool. The pirates having their last hoorah was actually really cool. And I will say, they need to give every show another year to cook in the sense of visual effects, because this was flawless. That whole chase through At-Atten felt like a Disney World ride, quality wise.
Right.
I felt like I was watching Tross because it was so well done, and like the CGI looked impeccable. I was like, man, I love Mando, and I love Kenobi, and I love Ahsoka, and I love every live. I love Andor. Andor is one of the better looking of all the shows, but this was like, God, I couldn't believe it.
Scotty would live on the volume if he could. So that's that he needs this.
This is the volume right here.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
But for real, I mean, every show needs an extra year to cook. And I know it's probably not best for production, and I know it's not easy, and I know it's expensive, but man, does it pay off. Genuinely.
That extra shine really kind of shines through.
The shot of the ship going up through the atmosphere and like going up into space is just like incredible.
Insane. And like when it shuts off and like the whole room becomes that stark white color, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was really well done.
The fact how the barrier looked so good. Like it could have been, I don't know, like it again, we don't nitpick a ton of that kind of stuff here, like at least to death, but it usually it looks like a TV budget, like a very good TV budget. And this was very much a, like I said, that just, it really just kind of, it really showed. The work that they got to put in on it.
Yeah, it looked like Solo a little bit. Just like it just felt
a little
huge.
bit.
It had that whole like the Kessel run.
To me, like the highlights of the show, like the episode with the pleasure yachts and the mud baths and all that stuff, that felt so much like Solo to me.
Yes.
And
there they are. There they are.
There they are. Look at them. But yeah, I love that vibe.
But in terms of a finale, this satiated the story for you, Adam?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, are they going to make a second season? No idea. Like, will we see these characters again? The odds are probably pretty good. I mean, this story takes place in the Mandoverse. Like, Atten seems to have some like major consequences now for
Yeah.
existing.
Mhm.
Like, is the First Order going to get a hold of that, or So like, I don't know if they'll make a second season. I don't know how these characters will kind of connect into the larger story. And I think they absolutely will, because why else would this story take place when it does? Like,
And
if it's
why
real,
open the planet up?
right.
Like, yeah.
If this is just a story about kids on an adventure with a pirate, that can take place 10,000 years ago, 10,000 years in the future, right? Like, they can drop that story in anywhere they want, but it's in the Mandoverse, and obviously we've got Vane in there and some, some other connections. So
Right.
it'll just be very interesting to see how a guy like Jod interacts with someone like, say, Sabine. Like, they both have the Force. They're both kind of, like quasi Jedi. So stuff like that really interests me. But I think just as far as like paying off this season, like you said, like everything they set up, they paid off. I don't think there were any real like lingering questions to be answered. Like, if you had one question, maybe it was like, what species is Tack Renard? Because his hologram was messed up, and I'd like to know, because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, for the most part, I think it paid off everything that it set up.
Yeah. I thought the most like Planet of the Apes level twist of like, they know it's a droid is crazy to me. I wasn't expecting any of the adults to be like, oh yeah, he's just a droid. And we all follow it because we're going to benefit the greater good of the world. It's just like
it's the great work once.
Well,
yeah.
Well, it makes you really think about, corporate America in the sense of like, I know Jerry worked for Amazon for a minute. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're just a small cog.
It was very Star Trek to me. It felt very Star Trek, because that's like a trope in Star Trek. In fact, they make fun of it on Lower Decks, I think, a couple of times, how there's like all these societies that are ran by computers or something like that. But I guess this one wasn't necessarily evil, but just it really kind of like has that like feel like, oh yeah, this is our leader right here. Yeah,
it's so matter of fact. Well, it's also, it's like, I mean, and to look at it a deeper metaphor, it's like these things, like if we all depend on it, we all need it, and the second it's not there, and someone takes over, something takes over, like, you see what's going through Wendell's mind, you see what's going through Farah's mind. They're just like, no, we can't let that happen, because the barrier's protecting us, and if we open ourselves to the world, we will get trouble. We'll get trapped by the things around us. And I love it. It takes these kids to go on that journey for the adults to even realize that. And most of those 80s stories do kind of hinder on that. And you're right, Kelly. Love Kelly being in the chat. She said the biggest droid ever.
Biggest droid ever. He was the whole building. He was the whole building.
I loved him so much. That the decision to go with a giant astromech head, complete with like little arms coming out of its giant head, I thought was incredible. Like the way that they, again, it's the influences like layering on top of each other, right? Like, because you have the Wizard of Oz element.
Yep.
But then you also, like, when you zoom in on the red eye, you start having this 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yes.
Like,
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I went there too.
And it reminded me of the old read-along book, Droid World. Which
wow.
If you pull up the cover of that, if you have it, like that, that's one of those books where it's like C-3PO and R2 on their own little adventure, and there are some like giant building size droids in there. One that looks like a can opener, I think.
And it's interesting that you say that with the red eye, because if you notice it when it shifts, depending on what it's saying, it'll go from the blue eye to the red eye.
Right. Yeah.
So the blue eye, it's more docile and gentle, but then when it's red, it's very demanding. And you notice that with its tone and how it fluctuates. It was very interesting. At some points, I really thought I heard tones of Ian McDermott's voice in there. I thought I did, though. I looked in the credits. I thought I heard that, which wouldn't surprise me, especially with his last message was, you know, that the Jedi were traitors. Of course, if you notice, Farrah's expression was a little shocked. She didn't know that. So obviously the supervisor wasn't relaying everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But from the beginning of the show, I saw very big similarities with the suburban colonization, because it reminded me of the Phasma novel, where on Phasma's planet, Parnosis, I think I'm saying it correctly, it was a radiation dump area because they had simulated colonies there that were protected by a defense grid by Constar Mining. So, and they were all these facilities, these suburban colonies were run by droids.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there. And then also with the High Republic, the Guardian protocols were put in place hundreds of years and prior to the prequels. And those areas of planets that had those Guardian protocols, they were, again, basically run by safety droids. And research was at a halt. So those planets couldn't do any other outside research. It was halted. So it all falls in line with those things I've read in other books that are considered canon. So I'm just wondering how deep these writers went into this.
I love that you say that, because the entire time this show has been playing out, I always thought, if this society was run by someone, are they directly involved with Palpatine in that way? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, are they in some, has this society been set up by Plagueis, who was part of the banking clan? You know, like, there's
exactly.
there's just so many things. But also, how do you convince a whole planet to do your bidding for the greater good? You know, but if you, like you said, if it's you know, just like the High Republic for the great work concept, like that sounds amazing in theory, you know, but some totalitarian, you know, I guess you could say, countries in our real world, you can see where that doesn't really fall in line. People need those freedoms, and the fact that all their cars are on a track, and all the droids are there with zoom
like it's
in
not
cameras.
real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's kind of what Walt Disney wanted for Epcot originally, in the sense of it being the city of the future. But you know, it's totally under my control, you know. But it's funny. So the fact that you bring this up, we have never actually covered these before. I know, I think Blast Points has, and a bunch of other really wonderful podcasts. But funny enough, the opening, I think it's the second one in all of them. I don't know if this is the second one, I have no idea the true synopsis of these stories and where they fall in line. But like, it is all about, like, you know, look at this guy. It's just, it's amazing. It's a giant droid man, but it's them going down to this planet and they're getting a piece, or I don't know. It's really weird. Buena Vista Records, owned by Disney, by the way. Those that don't know, they've been in it the whole time. Maybe that's the big scheme in the end of it. You never know. But funny enough, with this show and with this episode, the whole legend of it all, and I texted our friend Alden Diaz this. There's a legend to all of this that I think is really kind of captivating, where Jude Law, you see him really struggle with, like, how is he going to pull this off? And it's these kids that foil him, which is, of course, we all saw that coming. You know, you knew that was going to be the case. But there's something to be said about, now he has a legend to him. Now he's Tackerned. He actually found At-Aten, and he actually brought the other pirates to it. Though it was a failure, you know, to some eyes, he still successfully pulled it off. And that smirk at the end, maybe one of my favorite just tongue-in-cheek moments. Like,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Okay, then say it. What you want to say?
That, just saying that's exactly what I thought the smirk was referencing.
Yep.
You know, that, like, he realized in that moment that, now he's become like a tack-rented level guy.
Yep. I'm a legend. And if I leave and if I escape, then that's my legacy. You know, unfortunately, it was a downfall, but, you know, and you know what's really funny? It's all about betrayal still. Those kids, but with so many turns, don't get me wrong, these kids had to betray this man. He was not a good man, but he was betrayed yet again by his own crew, just like Tack was back on the Onyx Cinder. And I don't know, the whole shedding of the ship's skin, the whole, this man is going to have a legend of his own. That's really cool. And, like, you never know. There could be a line in the future Ray project or in some other project in the line. They're like, oh yeah, this whatever, this legend of this person or Takronin,
The Legend of
or
Nanawood.
John Denalwood,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love what this story has done, because then these kids, I mean, you gotta think, we've all seen it. No movie ever shows you like when the Goonies kids save their little neighborhood and it's all, they made the money, but you don't see the outcome of it, which is kind of nice. In your brain, you have a nice little bow of the story. You're like, oh, well, I can see what they'll do, what could happen. But like when Wim looks back up at the ship and the moon, and like you said with Leia's thing, like you think to him, oh man, I want to know so bad where this goes, but you're also like, let's leave it. Let's leave it there because it's just as special and just as sweet.
It's a complete story that what we have. Like, yeah, it's all tied on there, but like, yeah, they leave you with that little bit of just, wanting, like, hey, the adventure continues. I want to keep going with this.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like my favorite ending. You can go back. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull up a picture of my favorite ending. Hold on.
No, it's okay. I was just saying when Wim looks up and you could see him, like, he knows now he wants to be, you could tell he wants to be an X-Wing pilot. But for me, it was also like the Broom Boy moment. At the end of the Last Jedi, he's just like, you already know. You don't need to see anymore. You already know, this is where they're heading. They're like future resistance leaders, because they're the right age. When that happens, they'll be adults.
Yes.
So that's what I see. I don't need another one. Would it be great? Absolutely. Would I like to see him maybe be, dropped off into something else? Oh, sure. Why not? But I've been saying that about Enfys Nest now for how many years? I want to see that, I want to see her again too. Like, hello, but
yes.
Good point though. Cause they have these books you can all read or these other shows you can all watch, these animated series where like these things can totally come to fruition. And we're still holding back a little. We're still waiting on some people to show back up. And then you get scenarios where they do. Omega, oh my God. Like one of the greatest endings in all of Star Wars. But like, there's something to be said about like the wait while it does suck. And, unfortunately, every person on this screen and watching live has a split mind on this because they can either go season 2 or you'll see them again. Or, next week, canceled. And it's like,
or announce 5 books and then cancel or something.
Yes. Or announce a book and then, oh my God. I didn't think about that.
That's happened too.
It's happened and it sucks. And, I love that with Ahsoka, like it was pretty straightforward that we're in the second season. And I know they're not going to screw Dave Filoni over because Dave Filoni over is someone that done this for years and is going to do a movie in the near future. Like there's something to be said about that sake of storytelling and keeping him in the family, But one thing I wanted to show y'all, the ending of the Skeleton Crew, and I know it might not be the best reference, but this is what it reminded me of, which is I think one of the more special endings in all movies. For a movie that's so campy, this ending always makes me cry because it's never about the kids. It's always about the impact of the kids and what the kids did. And the fact that these kids liberated a whole world from, I guess, a robot overlord is kind of interesting. And I'm sure for that society, it'll be pretty scary to have to welcome in all these new things and be vulnerable. And then that name will get out there. Will they establish this barrier back? Like, it's nice to speculate on all that. And I'm sure we will, and I'm sure we'll get answers. But the story of it all, this just felt so legendary. It really did feel like this for me when I was watching this as like an 8-year-old. I could imagine that's what Eleanor's going through, Jerry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And, it's, I don't know. It's a perfect button to me. I can't get off of that. It felt like the perfect button for this. So again, like wherever it goes, whether it goes or not. And, there's rumblings of like some characters from this appearing in the Mandalorian Grogu movie or something, that I had heard, which is probably vain.
Yeah.
it could just be vain, popping back in there or a pirate or something. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see where they go with these characters. I do want to see more of them because it was just such a to me. I loved the chemistry of the kids, especially the kids were the best to me. So
The kids are amazing actors and actresses. Yes.
Oh yeah.
They're flawless. I couldn't believe it. Like, and I'm not gonna dog on other shows, but like there's other shows with kid actors, contemporary and Star Wars shows.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
well, right. No, the kids were phenomenal. But just talking about the society and the changes and stuff like that, how about the moment where the barrier falls and the stars, you see the stars for the first time and you start to hear the crickets?
Oh,
Like
that was cool.
That moment was great. And shout out to Neil's dad for not doing hardly anything this entire show. But having that almost Bail Organa-esque balcony punch moment when the X-Wings fly, when he goes like shakes his fists in triumph.
Gosh, that's so good.
It's again, I love that part. That was like right after like the stars come up and they're all like, in wonder and awe and stuff. And then the X-Wings and B-Wings fly in and he goes, yeah, like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother, says Neil's dad. So he looks like if Hulk Hogan didn't sell conservative beer.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm looking forward to where this could go. I love what we got. I love the Wim hero moment. That was amazing.
Dude, when Wim ignites the saber correctly, at the end,
double checked.
But just that moment is so special. I feel like that's he got his Jedi moment right there.
There's a few. I don't know about y'all, but I could tell you a shot from every Star Wars project that like hit something in my brain and I go, oh my God, this is new Star Wars. Like how wildly beautiful is that? That was one of them from this episode. And the other one was when the pirate ship came crashing down and it was just destroying that whole town. Then it lands in water. And I was like, I can't believe we're getting this.
Man, rest in peace, Urkel. The space Urkel.
Gunter.
I was hoping that I was hoping. Yeah. Did I do that?
Yes, he was the one doing that.
That's true.
So
I no, you're fine. I loved him. I was hoping that character would continue as well because I just I love to see him succeeding. Jaleel White, I love seeing him succeed. Yeah. But it looks like Gunter was a true captain and went down with the ship. So
Gunter.
That scene looked incredible. Also, the B-Wings using their composite beam.
That was great.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
What is it? The meme on there? My biggest hell yeah yet or something? Yes. No, like it's just to get that in live action for the first time too. Absolutely insane.
And
amazing.
The other thing that it felt like to me, especially at the end when you see all of the various I guess skiffs that the pirates are on in the streets, like that reminds me of the Masters of the Universe movie from 1987.
Dude,
I can also Gunther looks like one of the bounty hunters from that movie, and then Brutus is kind of like a beast man or whatever. But anyway, at the end of that movie, which is ridiculous if you haven't seen it, Skeletor comes to Earth and basically lands in suburbia, and he has a fleet of skiffs with troopers on it, and it looks exactly like that. So
I have never seen that movie.
Reference.
I'm looking this up. Wait, so hold on. That's the end of Masters of the Universe. Hold on.
I saw the screenshot you posted. I saw that, and it is very. I thought it was a screenshot from Skeleton Crew for a second.
Yeah, because if you think about at the end of the episode, when the ships are leaving and the pirates just left there, it looks a lot like this image.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing! I'm looking that up right now. What? How did I never know about this ending? That's
That's
crazy.
so great.
It
Hold
looks.
on.
It's. I was gonna say. I saw this screenshot just a little bit ago, and it is dead on. It's dead
Wait. Okay, wait. So it's the He-Man final fight scene. I have the power. Is that what it is? Is that?
Oh man, I don't know. Yeah, if you're getting into the movie, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, I just don't. I just so they come down on there. This is so bizarre. I love this.
Yeah,
How
I mean,
have
if
I
you
never
haven't seen
watched
it,
this?
yeah, oh man, it's right up there with like a Flash Gordon in terms of like, it's a low budget space fantasy ripoff of Star Wars, essentially by Canon Films, and so they had such a limited budget that they couldn't really pay off what the cartoon was. Like Eternia, they couldn't do that, so they just had He-Man like crash land on Earth essentially, and so Skeletor comes to Earth, and there's like the principal from Back to the Future. He's like a cop in it, and so like he's like the straight man while friggin' He-Man is next to him, and like Beast Man looks like evil Chewbacca. Like it's really something.
Okay, you have to.
Okay, we're gonna have to watch this.
Funny.
I can't find this. That's amazing. And look, you know what's funny though? This is an important thing to say. This show, while it is a serious show, doesn't take itself too seriously, and I like that. It's still playful. Whereas some shows, and I'm not going to drop anything, but it takes itself really seriously, and you don't get lost in the weeds. Where this show can joke, and this show can be whimsical, and this show can be fun. And honestly, I'm gonna miss that. Because the only other show in the pipeline, to our knowledge, is Andor. Live action show is Andor, and I love Andor, but I don't
Ahsoka
leave that
season
show.
2, but
That's true.
Well,
Ahsoka season 2.
Andor is going to feel a little too real world, I think, coming up. pretty
Yes.
soon. So that's the thing. Yeah. It's gonna, which is good. It's gonna be very cathartic. It's gonna be very cathartic, but it's not gonna have
100%.
that, like you're saying, that it's not got as much of the whimsy because it's the gritty, dirty, on the ground people, the people in the galaxy getting stuff done, not the pantheon of heroes going for things.
Well said.
Well, sticking with whimsy and connecting to other movies from back in the 80s, I loved the very end and watching the credits and seeing Wim's story pad play out. And then you get the image of his story pad and it's saying Skeleton Crew. I'm sorry, my mind went right to the Princess Bride. I saw that at the end.
Book.
And I'm like, oh, you went there. You did it. And I don't know if that was an intentional thing, but that's where I went.
Yeah,
because you can really say, I mean, it is a story. He was reading stories the whole time. So,
well, and look, to be said about the legend of it all too, like the fact that we've got John and Onwood's legend being intertwined with these kids. These kids are going to go back to class.
Pirate Roberts, right?
Yes, they're going to have their own legend of their own when they go back to class. Like, oh my God, we saw that was you, and we didn't. What was that like to experience it? These kids go from being just kids in the class that aren't really that acknowledged or taking a silly test and determine the rest of their life, to being these kids that are going to be legends amongst their own peers. Oh.
And they were separate. They were like two different groups of friends that are now going to be. They're now a group. They're now bonded by this and stuff.
Yeah, family, which is
that's
a
beautiful
theme in Star Wars,
right? But also, you can have Neil ask that girl out finally.
Yes,
that is going to be my man Neil.
I think
he's going to do that and then go home for a bubble bath.
Competition. It's either her or Hina over on.
Oh,
that's true.
That's true. His first kiss right there.
That's
well, I was gonna say, is he gonna try to go over there and help them out? Like there's a lot of places you could go. So I don't know if Neil firsthand is gonna do that, but
I secretly wanted an after credit sequence of the kids going back to Cathalops and like telling him the rest of the story, or even like better, just a total stranger is down there telling Cathalops that story because it is a legend now. I just thought
I like that. Oh man, now I want that.
There was one cool thing. I don't even know who directed this episode. I when it ended, I was looking all around the credit titles because of everything going around in the background. Who directed this? I have no idea.
I believe it was Is Ford the main one or is it Watt?
Yes.
Which one? I believe it was Ford because he did the first and he said he would do the last one. So he would be doing bookends.
God, that's great because that's
yes, it is
smart.
Watts. Someone just came out. I was
There
pretty
we
sure it was
go.
him.
You got it.
Because
That's
he is in an
amazing.
interview saying that he's hoping people take away a lot from the final episode, because he says, like all Star Wars, it leaves ripples, whatever that's supposed to mean.
Good.
So,
well, the reason I say that too is because, give these people a movie. Number one, they would do a really good movie, and I think in some capacity this was probably pitched as a movie originally, and then they worked it into a show, and I think it's very well done and gave you more time to fall in love with these characters and kind of get them. Because if this was in a movie, I feel like it would have been like, oh, geez, like whoa, there's a lot going on. But man, what was I going with that? I had a whole thing I wanted to say. Oh hell, what was it?
You know how I feel like when I woke up to come to. On the show.
Sorry.
So, yeah,
texting you. Where you at, you asshole?
Yeah, Scotty was legitimately scared for my well-being. Actually,
are you okay?
I mean, I was too. As soon as I woke up, I was like, "Oh my god." Anyway,
what did I say? But anyway,
did you find you got your point, baby boy?
No, I don't. It had to do, but it ultimately had to do with this great concept that this story has come to a successful end. And as much as I would have wanted to get more of it, and I hope we do, if it does end up being a 1-season show, then I'm happy. I'm not going to be like, damn, give me more. Whereas Acolyte left so many things open.
Acolyte,
you knew it was going to be a second season.
First season. And not that this isn't. It's just this doesn't. Honestly, I went into this feeling like it was probably going to be a 1-season thing.
Cool.
With the characters, branching out into other things as well. But and again, not to get back into the Acolyte of it all, but
and to that,
we want
point,
more Acolyte.
The Acolyte felt like, not to say it was cancellation proof, because that's not true of anything, but like the fact that it was going to be Lucasfilm's live action foray into a new time period. They had invested so much in the High Republic in terms of the publishing initiative. And so knowing now, okay, they're staking their flag right here, like 100 years outside of the prequels. This is going to be the new area they expand on, right? Well, because that's just what Star Wars does. They find a point in time and they work it to a very specific timeline. So like knowing that James Mangold is going to be sort of 10,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago or whatever, that area is off on its own. And then we would have this new live action, potentially animated as well, like section of the High Republic, right? And how we get to the prequels. And so by them canceling it, it was just like, again, it was like, why did I invest in this? Like, it feels like you guys should be investing in this. This timeline is like a key component to the future of your business. So like, it was very weird to me that it was canceled. Whereas Skeleton Crew, you're right. Like, it takes place in a timeline that we are very comfortable with now, because we've spent every other Star Wars series there pretty much, Mando and etc. So it's a much easier story to sort of plug in, and hey, if it was successful, great. If it wasn't, we're not losing too much, like in terms of we answered everything here in this season, right? Like, so to me, that's probably one of the big differences and one of the things that I've kind of struggled, I guess, to overcome while watching the show, right? Is that it is very much a self-contained story right now. And maybe that changes in the future. But like Becca was saying, like it did feel like a YA novel. And that's totally fine. It's just not what I guess I wanted to read.
Yeah.
I want the adult version maybe of that novel. That sounds weird. Not the adult version.
No, I get exactly what you're saying. I really do. Well, I guess before we sign up on this whole thing, does anyone else want to, tie anything into this and look at it? Becca, you've been bringing really awesome points about books. And I will say, if you listen to Tarkin's Top Shelf, they care about every little fragment of the stories that are being told in the novels, with the authors, with everyone else that is creatively involved with that. They've had Pablo on. They've had a bunch of really awesome people on their show. But is there anything else you want to bring up, Becca?
No, I think the stories have been good. I mean, yeah, I'm not in marketing. I'm not a CEO of a big company. I don't know what makes or breaks. I mean, I would like to see more happen, like Adam was saying, in a different timeline. I'm one of those that was really cheering and rooting for that. Again, right now, everything just seems to be Mandoverse based, which is fine. It's fine. But, you know, I'm ready for something different, something beyond the Skywalkers. The only thing that I would, if we're gonna stick with them, as in the Mandoverse, you know, stop talking about Leia. Stop showing her ship and not showing her. Bring Billy Lord in. Ask her if she'll, you know, help her mom's legacy grow a little more or keep it going. Because I don't know, Billy's been coming out with some pretty incredible films, and she had this one little snippet of one thing she was doing, talking in all these different accents, and her hair was brunette. I swear it was like I saw, I double taked. I thought it was Carrie. It blew my mind. She's the right age. I think she could do it. I think she's got the chops, but just
I'm really holding out.
don't be afraid to recast. Don't be afraid to recast.
I agree with that. And I feel like Filoni's movie is sort of gearing up to be this like new agey kind of version of Heir to the Empire, right? Like sort of feels
gotta
like
be in that.
This and so maybe Leia, maybe young Luke shows up again, maybe a Han shows up, you know. I don't know, but not that I need all these cameos, but very obviously I think Filoni he's been building to that. He's trying to connect this world to Star Wars. I mean, whether it was the Snoke stuff or, you know, suggesting that the First Order is going to come out of the remnant and stuff like that. I mean, he's certainly trying to connect it. So I don't think in going back to Skeleton Crew, like, again, it's no coincidence of where it takes place in the timeline. Like, we are going to see Jude Law on screen in Star Wars 100%. Again. It just makes sense. Like, he's a tremendous actor. He's a great character. Like, hopefully we don't abandon it, you know?
Right.
Right.
Like, I'd love to see him interacting like a younger version of him interacting with Alden Ehrenreich Solo, because he feels like so much in that like Beckett kind of realm. Like,
I'd actually like him to see with a young Lando. I think that
would
be perfect.
Would be great in the young
there.
Lando.
Oh,
going back to just a stray thought I had while I was watching the finale, especially, but really the build up through the series, is Jod is exactly what I wanted DJ to be in The Last Jedi.
Oh, that's beautifully said.
Like, charming and disarming, but also like absolutely cunning and ruthless, like a true morally gray character. Like, and obviously Jod gets a lot more screen time to do that than DJ in The Last Jedi. However, I just feel like the character was written much better. Like, it accomplished sort of the same. It taught the kids ultimately the same lesson that DJ teaches Finn in the gang, right? Like, don't trust anybody, kind of thing. Like, so
no one's out for you.
Don't join.
Don't join. I love it. Don't join.
Don't join. My biggest gripe, and I'll say it. We needed more of my fuzzball in it.
More fuzzball.
Yeah. They were really upfront with fuzzball. You know,
I was really invested.
We really just kind of put all that up front. We really went all in with the fuzzball. And
well, you know, it's so cool and it's awesome. Not complaining about it whatsoever, but like, they made such a big deal about bringing Teak back. Yeah, I was like, I love Teak, you know. And then he's like shows up for 2 seconds, and he looks like he's just been chain smoking Marlboros all day. Like, so wild. Like,
he did.
Really made you think like, oh, this guy's going to be like a minor character in this show, but no, like, just, you know, 10 seconds on screen. But again, can't complain.
It's still sitting there, and oh god, what's his name? Shop. It's still sitting in the back of his shop. Not Phil Tippett. Who's the creature? Neil Scanlon's going to be sitting.
Scanlon,
It's always the best thing about
Always
that
gonna
is
be there.
always something they can grab and be like, oh, we're putting it, because they did that a lot with this show. They really
Yeah.
did, which was nice. They took the TLJ models. They took some Tross. They took some
This
TFA.
was a good mix of
Oh,
new
nice.
and stuff that they
Yes.
have had through
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Prequels, sequels,
No, you're right.
originals, all of it, everything
it
they
all.
pulled from everywhere,
It was
and
nice.
liked it.
did a lot of really new, really cool creature designs.
I agree.
And what
Best
about Kim? What about Kim? I mean, Kim
Oh,
was
Kim's
cool.
one of the
Yeah,
best.
he's awesome.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kim is
I
one of
love
the best nudists. So this, and I've said
Thank
it
you.
many times on this on these recaps already, but this is the best creature design I think of the Disney owned era.
Mhm.
In my opinion, this is the best creature design has been.
Better
yet.
than Dr. Mandible from Book of Boba Fett.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But again, I give you the horse chef was my favorite. The six-sided horse chef. And then like just all kinds of
Six-sided horse
there
chef's
was
pretty
so
hard
many
to beat.
there was so many awesome weirdos
Yeah.
in this thing that I just absolutely was enamored with because I just love creatures.
There's the
They're my-
Raptor
they're my
bounty
bread and
hunter guy
Right.
from Kenobi. He's pretty
Oh,
that
good.
one's
Raptor.
pretty great. That one's
Raptor
great as
Man.
well.
Oh,
Raptor
man.
Man. I know. Was it sitting next to a good friend of the show, Chris Ryans of Broaxium, watching that Kenobi premiere, and him go when that thing appeared on screen, hearing that man sitting next to me, like grab my shoulder, and go, "A Tyranno Man, Tyranno Man!"
Tyranno
was
Man.
one of the greatest experiences of my
Oh,
life.
that's wonderful.
Chris
Yeah,
Ryans,
that's what we live
I
for.
love you. We got to have you back on the show sometime soon.
What did I say, Jerry? What did I shout like an idiot?
Oh, flee! That's what you
That's
yelled.
the one I
whenever-
yelled at the
sorry, I was too
celebration
close to the
premiere.
mic. He yelled "flee" whenever Flea popped on screen. As whatever. I forget
Oh,
his
my
character's
Lord.
name. He's just
That was
Flea.
a thing that happened. Yeah,
He's
Flea
just
was
Flea.
in Star Wars. Yeah.
Ooh, it still gets me excited. It
Needles.
does. Oh man. No, but thank you both for joining us and discussing
thank
this
you.
stuff. This has been very fun to cover this, and Bombad programming is going to be at an all-time high in the next month. But regardless of all that, Becca, what we got going on at Tarkins? Anything cool? Anything you want to plug?
We're gonna be back to our regular programming, which is reviewing books. I've actually got to respond to my contact over at DK so we can line up some authors. Really hoping to sit down with Dan Brooks. It looks like he's next on our list, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm just happy to get back into it, and we got the books coming up with Alexander Freed. So yeah, which will most likely connect some way somehow into Andor. So
Right.
yeah, pretty excited. Always room for more Mon Mothma. So yeah, I'm looking forward for
Always.
that. Oh yeah,
Always.
Yeah, you can check
she's
out
one of the best
everything.
redheads in the galaxy. Absolutely love her.
That's right.
That's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
No, check out Tarkin's Top Shelf. One of
Yes,
the
guys, please.
look, and they cover everything publishing. Things that I even forget happen.
Oh
they
Lord,
cover.
look at that. That's us.
Yeah, this is
Sorry.
it. It's beautiful. No, it's all good. This is where y'all's bread and butter is at, and I'm so thankful that you took some time to come on our goofy little show and talk about this stuff with us. It means a lot.
Yes, thank you.
Love it. No problem. Thanks.
Of course, Adam. What do you have going on, buddy?
Just published a couple weeks ago my best of 2024 list and all that stuff over at Poppin' Pizza. So just sort of palling around, wondering kind of what I'm going to write about next, what strikes me as interesting. But yeah, that's about it.
Beautiful. Everyone go follow Adam. Adam's a
Go
great-
go check out Poppin' Pizza. It's fantastic. So y'all seriously give
Well, let's plug our thing we have next week. This is it. Lights, camera, Branson.
This is crazy.
Yes, that's
Crazy.
right. Bombad is Branson bound. That's right.
right, dog.
Wow.
Look,
I
I got
have
the video
spent.
just in
Scotty,
my
have
hand.
you been to? Oh,
No.
everyone's screen. Have y'all been to Branson?
No,
Never been. I've always
No.
wanted to go.
I have
This
been to
makes me wanna go.
Branson more times
I
than
believe
I
it.
have been probably anywhere else. My family had season tickets to Silver Dollar City.
Oh,
I am going to be the expert next week. Okay, you're in my house.
That's gonna be
Get
incredible.
Get ready to fix the tracking on your on that player, folks, because it's gonna. I bet
Oh
it
my
smells
gosh,
fantastic.
VHS.
I bet it
We
smells.
still need to
fantastic, yeah.
watch Michael
We do.
Jackson live in
I know.
Boogaloo.
I knew. I have it. Literally. I know.
Hey,
we do.
We got a
Adam.
little
I
bit of
know we
time
do.
here in between. In our
Adam?
in between phase, you know. So
That's
We
true.
do.
Might
We've
be
got,
time.
we got celebration. We got a lot of stuff coming on the corner, but it could be time to finally watch Michael Jackson live. And where's it again? It's hold on, don't say it.
Bucharest.
Oh, that's it. Dang it. I wish I could, because I saw footage of it the other day. But you know, Adam, I have something queued up for you. Instead of playing our traditional man in the mirror, I do have something I want to play. But before we do that, I want to hype this up. Yes, live at Celebration. Very, very excited for this. I cannot believe it. Becca, will I see you there? I actually haven't asked you this yet. You coming?
No, I can't. I mean, it's just, if I'm going to go there,
Yeah.
I need to spend a couple weeks, and
That's
I
what I'm
can't
doing.
get that much time off from the doctor's office. Everyone needs their eyes fixed. I got to be there.
true.
I got to
That's
be
right.
there. Retina
That's
is
this guy with these Coke
very
bottles.
important.
I mean, come on. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just have to say that I am extremely. You don't have to have me say that I'm proud of you, but I'm extremely proud
thanks,
of this
bud.
guy right
Wow.
here.
I'm so nervous.
That midichlorian thing is fantastic. I wish I could be there to cheer you on the sidelines, but I'm not going to be there either. So you guys need to all go and just fill that room and make Scotty feel even more nervous and stuff like that.
I can't believe it.
Make
And
him
then raise
give him
your
the butterfly
hand.
tummies.
Raise your hand and in your best little Anakin voice say, "Excuse me, Qui-Gon, sir, what are midichlorians?"
Yes, exactly. Yeah, someone please do that.
Oh,
please.
I love that scene, and I'll talk about it. Look, I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a lot of things I'm going to look at, especially the Anasea twins. That's like one huge thing I'm going to focus on. So I'm going to try to see if I can get some interviews. Like I want to do what some people don't do and like have an exclusively thing that I've asked people come out. Like I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. I want to reach out to Leslie Hill. I want to do a lot of things, but that's neither here nor there. I love you all watching. I love these two people on screen that joined us. Becca, can we get a good Stay Bomb at? And this is a surprise ending. Let me get it all queued up real quick. This is an ending that no one's expecting.
What do I have to do? What do I do? What do I do?
All you got to do is just say Stay Bomb at. Let me get it all queued up and we'll be good. Hold on.
I'm
Hold
not
on.
a good
Hold
voice
on.
actress.
You're good. We love you. Should do it because we love you. That's the thing. Yeah.
All righty, everyone. Becca, what should they do?
They should stay bomb bad.
Yes. Here we go. Oh, there's no audio. Hold on, wait.